Hi everyone, my name is Frederiksen. I'm a customer support specialist and documentation writer for RoboHead. Welcome to our session, YouTube MP4s and more, reviewing multimedia in RoboHead. Today we're going to talk about how you can use RoboHead to streamline your review and distribution process for videos and other types of multimedia using the tools available in RoboHead. Multimedia review can be a complicated thing. Documents are pretty straightforward most of the time. You're checking for spelling and grammar, you're making sure the formatting is right, but with a video, there are countless shots, edits, effects, and more that you might need to provide precise feedback for. Meanwhile, other file types like audio and 3D models, as well as others, have their own complexities. RoboHead will streamline this process by centralizing and offering consistent tools across multiple file types. We'll focus primarily on video today, but we'll discuss other file types as well. First, a quick overview of those file types. There are MP4 and YouTube video, animated GIF files, audio clips, PDFs with color separation, and 3D models. When reviewing video, MP4 files are great for videos that are in draft form. Perhaps you have a stakeholder who you know is going to add some pretty specific feedback, and you need to just get the general structure in place first before implementing whatever they have to say. Or maybe you need to view the file without the compression that YouTube adds. Then MP4 is going to be perfect. YouTube, meanwhile, has a couple of advantages. YouTube links review like MP4 files, but without the file upload. So you're saving both upload time for you and download time for the user, as well as space on your account. So a lot of optimization there. And RoboHead can also accept both public and unlisted YouTube links. So this doesn't have to be a live thing. A couple of notes. For MP4 files, they do have to be the H.264 codec. This codec is available on all video production platforms and is compatible with all common browsers. So that's going to make sure that everyone can see it. It's also worth noting that RoboHead does not compress video uploads. So if you upload a very large video file, then when the user goes to review it, they will also be downloading a very large video file, and that can take some time to load. For YouTube videos, the main thing to remember is that they cannot be private. Private videos won't be available for RoboHead to access, but unlisted ones work fine. All right, well, let's talk about the different annotation tools available. So for video, you have YouTube video and MP4 video. In terms of uploading, it's pretty much the same. You just select a file from your computer and hit save for an MP4 file. But for YouTube video, you want to select that option from the dropdown and then paste any YouTube links here, separated by a comma. In terms of actually reviewing those files, the tools are identical. We're going to click on the MP4 file here and let that load. Usually it's pretty fast, but sometimes with bigger files it can take a while. So now as you can see, we have comment, draw shapes, and free draw up here, as well as stamps. I've left a couple comments here already. So you'll see here we can extend the duration for which a comment displays. You can also shift its location on the timeline. Further, you can move any of these comments around just like any other annotation in any other document. We have a little free draw option here as well. And we can also move that around to better match exactly where we want to see it on the scene. You'll also want to make note of the zoom tool. Now on a short video like this, it's not going to do much, but on a longer video or a video with lots of different comments, this can be really useful to zoom in and get a clearer idea of what's going on, a more granular look. Now let's talk about some of the other files. Animated GIF and audio files have almost identical tools. For animated GIFs, it is literally identical. For MP3 audio, it's quite close. You'll only have the add comment tool because there isn't a picture to place annotations on. So there's just the add comment. But just like with a video, you can set a comment, change its duration, adjust its placement on the timeline, and you can zoom in and out on the waveform. So now that brings us to our last two, CMYK files and 3D models. First, let's talk about how to upload those. Each of these file types has its own little quirks at this point. So selecting the PDF itself, that's standard. You just select it and add it. But once you do, if you do have the CMYK color separation built into the PDF, you want to click Pre-Flight Ink Colors. That will tell RoboHead to look for the color separation and to include it in the review. Now for a 3D model, you'll select 3D File Import, and then you'll select your file. Once you do, you can select the angle, the zoom, as well as the ambient light and background colors. So now let's back out and talk about actually reviewing those. When you're reviewing a file with color separation, you'll have one new tool up here in the upper left corner. You'll see a different layer for each color. You have the full color layer, then individual layers for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. If you use Pantone spot colors for your team branding or anything like that, those will also be a layer here. And finally, for 3D models, you only have the comment tool available here, but it works a little bit differently than it does elsewhere because 3D files are a little bit different. As I spin the file here, or spin the image here, you'll see that the bottom comment rotates along with my rotation, and the top comment next to the little guy moves up and down as I tilt forward and backward on it. So that way, the person accepting the feedback knows exactly what part of the file you're talking about, and there isn't any confusion about what you might mean. Getting those files back to the stakeholder is important, and it's a lot easier to do if you automate it. So you can set up a RoboScript like this one. This RoboScript will trigger only when the review status is changed, and only if the review status that's selected includes complete and approved, or complete and approved with changes. This one is also currently set to trigger when the project status includes complete, but depending on your workflow, that might not make much sense, so you can remove that. So once it does trigger, what happens? Well, it copies the review files from the review to the project library, and then it tags them as a final deliverable file. That's handy because the next thing it'll do is email those final deliverables. Now, you can select specific people if perhaps the same people are involved all the time for video files, then that might make sense. So you can select a few different people. However, if you want a more dynamic option, you can select project requester or reviewers. And that will send it to the original requester or the people involved with the review. And then you get a more dynamic option that requires a little bit less intervention. We do recommend setting this to send a file as a link, just because some of these files can be really large and you don't want to run up against the receiving user's email size limitations. So that about does it for multimedia reviews. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment on this session or submit it to us through the usual channels. We'd love to chat. Make sure to join us for the next session, as well as all the others we have planned for you as part of our Converge 2025 user conference. Thank you.